Hello.
How's it going, Rick?
Doing pretty good, actually.
Killer, man. Well, I appreciate the time. Want to get into the new music and the big show and look back and look forward a little bit. But let's start with the new tune that I was privy to get to hear, the title track, which by the time this airs will be out. And man, I almost feel like you could name the song "Playing with Tension," but I guess "Adrenaline" is a whole lot better title. But that's really what music is, right? Kind of building it up and then breaking it back down again, and that's really what that tune's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've always enjoyed that kind of like the dynamics in rock music. We like to, get loud and get quiet. But this one, there seems to be a bit of more of a reason for it or something. But yeah, this song definitely has those stages and it goes from here to here within the span of 3 minutes, which I really enjoy. So
Yeah, it like just creepily builds up and then explodes and then comes back down. I love it, man. It really kind of keeps you on your toes in this day and age.
yeah, I think honestly, when we came up with that chorus, especially the music part, I think we sort of surprised ourselves. It sort of just seemed to come out of nowhere, and it was like, "Oh, this is cool. Let's go this way." So
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the new album, which we'll get in the new year, and kind of this is just kind of a teaser in the meantime. And I'm curious, man, when you guys go in to make albums, is there any sort of mission statement set up in advance, or is it just kind of like, this is the next batch of songs we write and the next batch of songs up?
that's pretty much how it goes. I mean, I think there's people around us. It's definitely our managers and labels that wish we went in with the mission and wish we could probably like aim it a little bit more. But for the truth is, within the band, we've always sort of made the joke if we really don't know what the next Finger 11 song is going to sound like until we start writing it. And it's, I mean, it's these new batch of songs. There's definitely a focus and a sort of more of a knowledge of what we don't want than what we do want. But there's definitely this kind of energy that when we tap into it, that tends to be the ideas that we sort of take to the finish line. The ones that have this sort of like raw, inherent kind of excitement to the music. So
I love it, man. Can't wait. Can we say who produced it? Was it self-produced?
it's self-produced, but I think the big difference about this self-production is the addition of our drummer Steve Malella,
Uh-huh.
who's like the newest member, going back 12 years, but he's the newest member. But this a song we released called "Together Right" is sort of the first example, and this new sort of working system we've got going on that includes him.
Mm.
It's been the first time in a long time that the band has been firing on all five cylinders at the same time, and it definitely has up the bar, raised our own internal bar of what we're trying to hit. And it is self produced, but he's a big part of that production, no question. So
Was that part of him getting the gig or kind of an after fact discovered later on?
it was sort of an after fact. Like originally when we brought him on, what we needed the most was a drummer, and he brought that right out of the gate, and that was the fit initially. And it took us a long time just to sort of naturally and organically build those friendships and those trusts, and sort
Sure.
of let him into the inner circle. But
Right.
once we did, well, it just changed. It didn't change anything. It sort of reinvigorated a thing that had been maybe gone a little stagnant, to be honest with you. Just we've been doing it for a lot of years, and we had our processes and it just changed. It just got everything going again, and it got everybody excited again, and it has been a real natural fit, and we're really pleased with the results for sure.
It's like, oh, you thought I could just play drums? Well, check out this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, truly, he was playing drums with us the whole time, like producing and engineering his own projects. Writing and producing and writing and producing. And we're like, oh, that's great, Steve. Right on, way to go. But then one day we're like, oh, wait, maybe we should try that with our band, and it just sort of clicked.
The other big thing, and I'm sure you can't say, but it's been a big trend lately is having guest appearances on albums. It seems like every album that comes out now, there's always three, four guest appearances on there.
So we've been told. We've been definitely informed that the latest thing is featuring other artists, and at this point, it's more of a discussion than an actual thing that we've accomplished. But it's definitely something that's on our radar, and as we go forward to finishing the record, I think it's something that we're going to keep in the back of our mind. So I'm not sure who or if there will be guest appearances on the record, but at this point, we don't know of any that will be there. So
And so technically the album's still open. It hasn't been mixed and mastered and finalized. It's still
that's right.
you
Yeah,
can pull it apart if need be.
that's right. That's right. And I mean, and I like the idea of the feature, but I like the idea of it being something not typical. So we'll have to go with that. Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll feature an orchestra or something. I don't know.
A kazoo, maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, dude, certainly looking forward to seeing you guys in our neck of the woods in Southern California, Glen Helen, August 31st, the big Creed reunion show, the summer of '99 and beyond. And Creed, a band that you did a ton of touring with early on.
Yes, yes, we've known them for like since the beginning of our American journey. You know, being Canadians, they were the first band, one of the first bands that sort of embraced us when we came down here, like as part of the team. And I mean, you know, we got like those friendships that started, you know, in the '90s. Like I couldn't have imagined that they would sort of come full circle like they have. And even the guys in the band, like we haven't seen them in 15 years even, and as soon as we saw each other, it was like an old friendship just sort of slipping back into where it left off. And it's really been a great thing. You know, we're thankful. You know, obviously it's a huge opportunity for us, and for them to think of us and bring us on this journey again is incredible. But you know, we're ready to make the most of it. The truth, you know, we've it's been a while since we've been down the states, definitely down in Southern California, and like
Yeah.
we can't wait to get on the stage. And our last two shows been rained out, which has been just an incredible bummer. Like not the show, our show, like the Figure 11 set. So we've been out here on the road now for about 5 days without playing. So tonight, like I don't even know what it would take to keep us off the stage. We'd be getting into bits, you know. It's like you got in between us and the stage tonight, it'd be trouble, I think.
Dude, I was trying to think of like how we could celebrate, you know, summer of '99. Like, what do we have to go back and start like, you know, highlighting the hair again or wearing the baggy jeans? Like, I'm trying to think of some way to get '99 about the show.
Yeah, I think that would be it. Probably the biggest pants you have. That's definitely part of the thing. And I think, you know, just going back to a time when music was like the shit, you know, like when it was the thing that people identified as, or you know, it was the main topic of conversation. And it was a good time because it was, you know, music was very, very important to society back then, and it was really celebrated. So it was a good time to be a musician for sure. Not that it isn't, it's got its own perks now, no question. Like people still love it. There's still 19,000 people show up to the shows, but definitely in the '90s, seemed more like had less fingers in the pot and just more of an organic feel to it. So
And certainly the album was still a big deal back then, which I'm so glad that you guys are still making an album and still believe in that format. Because I do. I love putting on an album, pressing play, and letting it go. I mean, that's still
yeah,
the best to me.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Like I'll take whatever form I can get it from my favorite artist, but nothing makes me happier than a full realized collection of songs that they worked on at the same time and they put all the energy into, and they put it, like that's still my favorite way to listen to music for sure.
You know, speaking of songs and the set list and everything in this show, I imagine you're going to work Adrenaline into the set.
That's the plan. Yeah. So like we've been rehearsing it on days off. We actually went to a rehearsal place in South Carolina and like set up our gear and like old school, just amps, and went through the song. But yeah, it's coming together pretty fast. So I'm not sure if we'll do it tonight, but we're definitely on the cusp of it. Like any day soon, we're going to add into the set. We'll see the reaction. So.
And does it get harder and harder as time goes on to put together a set list after so many albums and songs? Does that kind of become impossible?
Yeah, it's sort of like a blessing and a curse, right? Because all of a sudden you have a lot of material to choose from. Like at the beginning of our career, like we had a 40-minute record, and sometimes we didn't have enough music to fill up a 45-minute set, you know?
Right.
And now we definitely have that, but it is sort of hard to pick favorites. I mean, we know in our world there's at least two songs that are going to get into every set, and that's one thing in Paralyzer. Like we know that,
Right.
But then filling up the rest of it, it is a question of like, do people want to hear new stuff? Do they want to hear old stuff? Do they want to hear like, you know? And so we try and switch it out, but there's definitely staples for our band, and we also love our whole canon of music, so we try to represent each era and each record as best we can, you know.
Yeah, you had brought it up, and I'm always fascinated talking to artists, talking to bands like yourself. When you have that song, I mean, you have two, One Thing and Paralyzer, but putting on Paralyzer for a second. Did you know right away when you first heard it, was it, it's a cool song, just another album track, or were you like, hey, wait a minute, this could be something?
I think there was, I could be honest and say there was definitely a feeling of excitement. But when we wrote the music, it was exciting because it was sort of different for us. You know, it was like, oh, this is not what we typically do. But and then when Scott wrote the words and that sort of ironic situation of being in a club, and like that's when we thought, okay, this is cool. He's turned it into something, you know, it turned it in on itself and sort of made a meta. And that's when we thought, okay, this, if this connects, it could connect across the board. And it sort of, and yeah, I mean, but that being said, like we didn't know, like we're still, I mean, 20, how many years later, every year it's like that song reaches new heights and reaches new people. I think that for us, the biggest thing about that song, it went global, you know, and where the rest of our music sort of lived in the North American world, and this thing was the thing that went all around, and that has been the greatest thing about it. So, and we love the song. Like James made a good point the other day. Like it's lucky for us because Paralyzer is one of Finger Eleven's best guitar. Like if you're a guitar player, it's a fun song to play.
Yeah.
So we love playing it because we're guitar players, but the crowd loves hearing it. So it's like this is a win-win in our world. You know.
You know, one other old song I wanted to ask you about too. You know, I'm kind of curious who the WWE fan is in the band, and Slow Chemical and that Kane entrance.
Yeah, I mean that was I mean I would say like I definitely like I grew up in the 80s, like right in the heart of it all, right? And so did the other guys, like James Scott, like we all sort of grew up that way. When the opportunity arose, it was we were like, okay, like we got the opportunity to write a wrestling theme came up. But to us, it was like, well, who? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's a big question, right? It's like, well, and so when we found out we had the opportunity to Kane, right there, we were like, oh, okay, this calls for big riffs and like big rock music, and me and James sort of took an approach with the guitar riffs, like the Vader march, you know, like the Imperial March of like the dun 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 ticka, ticka, like that kind of just like, and then it turned into what it turned into, and we, you know, it was a trip for us because when we made the record or we made that song, we finished the mixing of it and stuff, and we handed it over to WWE. They didn't like it.
Oh,
They wanted to remix it, and they wanted to do, and they sent us something, and we were like, no, we don't like that. And so we sort of, they said, well, we're not going to put it on the record because there was a record called like, I can't remember what it was called, or Forcible Entry.
oh
And
yeah.
there was a CD, and it was all the songs, and they said like, well, we're going to leave it off that. And we sort of called their bluff and said like, okay, fine, leave it off because we don't want it to go. And so it just sort of got like, we thought that song died and fell to the editing floor. And then one day we were in the bar and we were watching wrestling, and it comes on, and all of a sudden we can hear our version, and we see Kane walk out, and boom, and then he used it for the next like 15 years, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was almost a surprise to us as much as anybody that it got used. And then his whole storyline went through the roof right afterwards. So it was really cool to see the song sort of get taken on the ride. And, you know, and I mean, it's one of our most beloved songs for an entirely different reason and
Right.
an entirely different group of people, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool, you know, it's like when you're in the moment, you're just doing it because it's a cool musical opportunity, but you never think of what it's going to be attached to or any legacy attached to it. So it's very cool.
Dude, Kane always one of the best badasses. Like even him and Undertaker, Brothers of Destruction. I always thought he was the cooler and the more badass out of the two of them.
Yeah, so did I. It was, and then that's like I said, like that's when we found out the who of what we could write. It was like, oh, this is a cool opportunity, you know.
I don't know if you get it up there in Canada, but A&E has been doing all these really cool, like old school biographies and then rivalries too, where they'll do like Kane versus Undertaker and break down all their matches and put it into like an hour-long compilation. But might be worth checking out if you're.
I've seen all the biographies. I love those A&E WWF RE biographies. They're incredible. I mean, I love all the Dark Side of the Ring too. Like
those too.
You know, they're awesome. But then I haven't seen the rivalries though. I'll check that out for sure, man. That's cool.
Who's your favorite? Do you have an all-time favorite? Because I know for me, and I've watched it like 3 times. The biography, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, man.
Yeah, I do the Dragon. You know, it's funny. I was just talking about him last night because when I was a kid, I actually slept over at a buddy's house and we went to an auto show so I could get Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's autograph.
Oh, no way.
And like I still have it on the 8x10, you know. the Roddy Piper one is my I
Oh,
thought Roddy Piper, he's awesome. Like he was my hero. Like that, the the heel that was smarter than everybody else. Like I love that character. You know, it's and then when you find out about him as a person and how serious he took it and how much work he put into it to be that good.
oh yeah.
You know how he was always writing lines and like all that stuff. I thought that was fascinating. So
And of course, They Live, the movie he had.
yeah, well, there you go. I mean that's one of the most underappreciated, movies of all time because of how accurate some of it seems.
I came here to chew bubble gum and kick ass.
Yeah.
Love that line. Dude,
Yeah.
appreciate all the time, man. Last thing I wanted to hit you with, we're an old school radio station. We do a feature called Mandatory Metallica every night at 10 p.m., which you're going to be a part of. And
Okay.
I've been having this Metallica debate with my buddy and I. I'm sure you're an old Metallica fan.
I am.
So we're debating their greatest thrash metal album ever and come down on opposite sides. So I want to get your vote on this. And it comes down to 2 versus 3. Ride the Lightning versus Master of Puppets.
Well, okay. I mean, I would probably throw Kill 'Em All in there. Like
A lot
honestly.
of covers on Kill 'Em All.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So then I would say Ride the Lightning.
Okay. Tell me
I
why.
would say I would say Master Puppets might be a more of like a masterpiece type album, but and maybe I even listen to more. But Ride the Lightning, as far as the thrash metal record, is almost like perfection, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
No issues with the production on it, or you kind of like it being a little dirty and a little bit not.
I like it being live and dirty. Like, yeah, it's funny. I find a lot of that old music, and even older, like the stuff that I used to think was sort of stale and overproduced. Now, by comparison to what is actually stale and overproduced, they sound live off the floor. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Like you
right.
can go back to listen to old Genesis, and I used to think this sounds like a computer, and now I hear it. I think you can actually hear the playing because we have direct comparison to what it sounds like when a computer plays it, right?
Yeah, it's not all
So
my fault.
it's I'm starting to appreciate it, but yeah, no, I mean those. I can't think of a better intro into the world than those first three. I would even say 4 Metallica records. Like, they're just incredible, And that's how I learned to play guitar. So I'm biased. Like that's literally how I learned to play guitar, by the books and those CDs and just playing them. So
What was the first one or the toughest one for you to try and learn when you were playing guitar?
um, I mean, probably I remember the first real challenge would be like Fade to Black. Just because it had that, because it was a different style of guitar playing that I'm just, it was the first time you had to like finger pick and actually arpeggiate and, that kind of thing. So that was probably my first real challenge.
And then James all about the right hand and teaching you the down picking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, that was the thing too, is that like I'm a rhythm guitarist at heart. So to me, that's one of my reasons I love Metallica, is like when the guy would go off his solo, the other guy, which was James, like the rhythm was almost as interesting as the solos to play as a guitar player, right? Like
Yeah.
to me, those were the fun parts. Like those were the parts that held the groove. And that's where I fell in love with like the rhythm guitar.
Beautiful, man. Last thing, just need you to pick a song for us to play on Mandatory Metallica.
Um, it can be anything.
Anything.
All right. We're gonna go with Orion.
So we're going back to Master of Puppets and
We
the
are.
instrumental.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of my favorites. I love it. I can listen to it any time of any day. I love the fade in. I'm a sucker for fade ins.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for cymbal chokes, like in Damage Inc., those cymbal chokes on the chorus.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Cymbal chokes and whammy bars are my thing.
Right.
Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for the time. Pleasure to get to speak to you. And
yeah, man, it was a great conversation.
Yeah, can't wait to see you out there at Glen Helen. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to run into you.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you definitely come say hi if you're around, man.
I will. Thanks, Rick. Safe travels, man.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Bye.